Good morning, everyone. Have you ever thought that risky play could bring a lot of benefits to children? Today, we will discuss a newspaper article from The Guardian titled Adventurous Play Boosts Children's Mental Health Study Finds. The article highlights that there is a study found that children engaging in adventurous play experience lower anxiety and depression level and reported greater happiness. The benefits were especially notable among lower-income families, emphasizing the need for safe outdoor play opportunities to support children's mental health. To evaluate this opinion, we have found a research study titled Child's Play examining the association between time spent playing and child mental health. The objective of this study is to examine association between the time that children aged 5 to 11 years spent playing adventurously and their mental health. The research is grounded in a positivist paradigm, and the methodology is quantitative and employs a non-experimental correlational approach with a cross-sectional design. It includes two studies that both examine the association between parent reports of children's time spent playing and child mental health. Moving on to the details of the studies. Study 1 involves 427 parents from Northern Ireland. Participants were self-selected through social media and newsletter, completing an online survey. Study 2 was larger, with 1,919 parents participating from a nationally representative sample in the UK. These participants were recruited via email and directed to an online survey. Both studies utilized the same measures, including the children's play scale and the strengths and difficulties questionnaires, positive and negative effect schedule, and Kessler 6. Comparing the data from the two studies, we have found that the pattern of the two results are largely consistent in overall. Both show that more time spent in playing adventurously could cause fewer internalizing symptoms and more positive effects. However, the results of the correlation between adventurous play and internalizing problems was notably different. This might due to the demographic differences between the samples.
Now, let's move to the assessment of the fidelity and reliability of the research study. We will talk about the advantages and disadvantages. First, the advantages for the fidelity is that the research study had used two independent samples, in which one of them was a large-scale nationally representative sample. This increased the external fidelity. Secondly, the research showed a certain degree of discriminant fidelity, as the results show that adventurous play was negatively correlated with internalizing problems, but are not related to externalizing problem. Thirdly, the research conclusions are drawn based on the result data by exploring a theoretical relationship between adventurous play and children's mental health. For the disadvantage, the research study is not randomized, which could lower the internal fidelity. Moreover, although the research sample is relatively diverse, it still cannot represent the whole population other than the UK. Thirdly, the research may obtain subjective bias as it mainly relied on parents' report, which could affect the objectivity of the measurement that may reduce the internal fidelity. Lastly, the research is unable to obtain baseline data before the pandemic, which caused them unable to rule out other possible explanatory factors for children's mental health, such as children's disability, causing them unable to find out the causal relations between adventurous game and children's mental health, which may lower their internal fidelity. Next, for reliability, its first advantages is that the results were supported in both samples and remained valid after controlling for various demographic factors, which show the robustness of the results and demonstrating good level of reliability. Secondly, in the research, all the survey data, analysis script, and result files are openly available, showing that the research is done systematically and allow others to replicate the test. All this demonstrate a good level of reliability. For the disadvantage, the confidence interval for study 1 is small, which the confidence interval is close to 0. Therefore, this may indicate that the result may need further verification. Moving on to the research limitation. The research has the limitation of subjective opinion since it is primarily questionnaire-based. Therefore, it is suggested that more objective measurement, such as daily-based measure of play combined with technology allowing tracking of activity levels and geographic locations, are suggested in future work. Secondly, the research is limited in exploring holistic development, as it mainly focused on the relationship between adventurous play and children's mental health, which could be limited in exploring how this play contributes to children's holistic development, such as the degree of autonomy, physical activity, etc. Therefore, longitudinal and experimental work is needed in future to explore more. Next, for the research conclusion. Its first conclusion is that more adventurous play is associated with fewer internalizing problems, such as depression and anxiety. In the research, this conclusion is justified by the two studies as the data collected are similar and consistent. Moreover, the theoretical models propose that adventurous play provide learning opportunities that could buffer anxiety. All this support the conclusion that more adventurous play may help reduce internalizing problems. The second conclusion is that the correlation of more adventurous play can lead to fewer internalizing problems is found to be stronger for children growing up in low-income families. In the study, they explained that since children from low SES families may have less exposure to structured adventurous play, such as martial art and scout, therefore, daily adventurous play is more important to them. And this conclusion is also justified by controlling a wide range of demographic factors and using alternative definitions of play. Lastly, they conclude that there is no direct association between adventurous play and negative emotions, indicating that adventurous play may help children to maintain positive emotions, but may not be useful in preventing negative emotions. And this proof is also justified by the data results. Although in the study, they found that children from high-income family may have experienced negative emotions even they play adventurously. This claim was rebutted after controlling for other demographic factors. Therefore, this conclusion remained valid.
Moving on to the last part of discussing whether the research supports the newspaper's claims. In the newspaper, they mentioned that we need to protect children's mental health by ensuring they have the opportunities to play adventurously. Indeed, the research concludes that more adventurous play is associated with less internalizing problems. Therefore, it is indeed effective to promote adventurous play to protect children's mental health. In addition, the newspaper claims that we urgently need to invest in natural spaced and well-designed parks to support the mental health of children. As the research study shows that children from low-income families needed adventurous play more, it is indeed beneficial to promote more free access to adventurous play to children. Therefore, we conclude that the newspaper's claims are consistent with the research study. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.